We are currently in the NBA news drought part of the offseason. So Caesars Palace released their over-under win totals for the upcoming NBA season. Over the next 3 videos, I'll be predicting the over-under win total for every NBA team. Let's start with the team that had the best record in the NBA last season and has the reigning MVP on their roster, the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks won 60 games last year en route to being the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. The Bucks did lose Malcolm Brogdon and Nikola Mirotic from the 60-win team last season, but they were able to bring back stretch big Brook Lopez, first-time All-Star Chris Middleton got inked to a long-term deal, and backup point guard George Hill got re-signed. They also have guys who could make contributions next year like Dante DiVincenzo, new additions Robin Lopez, and Wesley Matthews. Vegas has the Bucks over-under win total at 57 games. I'm going to go with the over here, with Giannis leading the way to another great season and potentially adding another MVP to his collection if he comes back with a reliable jump shot. Next, we'll go with a team who could say they had the best offseason of any NBA team, the LA Clippers. They added Kawhi Leonard and Paul George to a team full of great and tough role players who know how to star in their role. Vegas has the Clippers over-under at 55.5 games. This is a tough one to call. We all know Kawhi has grown fond of the idea of load management for about 15 to 20 games of the regular season so he can carry the load in the playoffs. Paul George could miss the start of training camp, and there's no timetable for his return after those 2 shoulder surgeries for a partially torn tendon in his rotator cuff in his right shoulder and to repair a labrum in his left shoulder. He could end up missing the first couple games of the season. But this Clippers team has shown the ability to compete on any night and fight for wins even when Kawhi is being load managed. The Clippers won 48 games last year in a loaded Western Conference. I'm going to go with the over here. The Clippers will be the #1 seed in the Western Conference next season. Now let's head through those secret Clipper tunnels of Staples Center right down the hall to the Los Angeles Lakers. They missed out on the playoffs last season due to the fact that LeBron James suffered his first major injury of his career, causing him to miss 17 games with a groin injury in the middle of the season. They did add Anthony Davis, who may be looking to show the world just how great he really is. They also added big man DeMarcus Cousins, who's been getting in shape this offseason and looking to prove how durable and how great he still can be to secure a big contract next summer. Vegas has their over-under at 51.5 games. I'm going to go with the over here because I believe James will make it a point to play most of, if not all 82 games to remind the world how great he is and that he should still be considered the best player in the game. But it is a dangerous game taking the over, because if James takes the other route of resting his body and being able to show the world in the playoffs how great he is, they might barely win 50 games. Let's head back out to the Eastern Conference with the Boston Celtics. They lost a lot of talent during free agency. Al Horford, Kyrie Irving, Terry Rozier. That's the team that won 49 games last year in the Eastern Conference. They were able to add Enes Kanter and Kemba Walker. I do think this team will be better than last year with Hayward coming back year 2 after that injury, and Kemba feeling like an upgrade chemistry-wise in the Celtics locker room. Vegas has the over-under at 49.5 games. I'm just not sure I see this unit winning 50 games next season. I'm going to roll with the under here. The loss of Horford will be huge, and anytime you lose a talent like Kyrie, I'm not sure how much better you get, even if Kemba does fix the chemistry issue. I'm going to roll with the under here, under 50 wins. Now on to the defending NBA champions, the Toronto Raptors. Obviously, they had the best season, capping it off with a championship, but they may have had the worst offseason simply because you lost the finals MVP in Kawhi Leonard. Vegas has their over-under at 45 games, which is very interesting. Vegas does not believe this team will go straight to the bottom of the league as most would expect when you lose a finals MVP in Kawhi Leonard. Maybe the emergence of Siakam as a potential all-star, having Lowry and Gasol could get you to 45 wins. I'm going to be optimistic here and say Siakam makes the all-star team, OG Anunoby makes another leap, while Lowry and Gasol still provide that great veteran presence on the court. I'm going to go with the over for 45 wins on this Raptors team, and let's say they sneak into the playoffs as a 5th, 6th, 7th seed, but I do think this team will win more than 45 games. Let's start with some teams now who don't have the playoffs in their sights. We'll start with the Charlotte Hornets. Vegas predicts that they will be tied for the worst record in the league this upcoming season. They have them at 24 wins for this upcoming season. Give me the under all day here. Feels like we are in for a 2 to 3 year tankathon with the Hornets. They lost Kemba and replaced him with Terry Rozier. Now don't get me wrong, Rozier, really good player, but he's not on the same level as Kemba. They have Miles Bridges, who they drafted out of Michigan State, good young player. Malik Monk, we're not sure what we're going to get for him. This Hornets team just feels like they're in the James Wiseman, Anthony Edwards sweepstakes for the upcoming season. Give me the under for 24 wins. Let's head down to Talking Stick Resort Arena, home of the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns were tied for the second worst record in the NBA last year at 19-63. They had a relatively productive offseason, hiring Monty Williams, signing Ricky Rubio, drafting Cam Johnson and Ty Jerome. They added good veteran role players in Aaron Baines, Dario Saric, and Frank Kaminsky. We will also be in year 2 for number 1 overall pick DeAndre Ayton. Yet Vegas has their over-under for 27 wins this upcoming season. Give me the over here. This feels like it could be anywhere from a 32 to 37 win season for the Suns. They seem to be finally on the right track in this rebuild process. They had a good offseason for a rebuilding team, adding veteran players who have won before and know how to help change the culture here, hired the right coach, and drafted players who know their role and will perform well in that role. This will be an exciting 35-win team. Let's go with another young team who struggled last season but had a similar offseason as the Phoenix Suns, the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls won 22 games last year, but they did have a lot of good young players miss time. Lauri Markkanen missed 30 games, Wendell Carter Jr. missed 38, and even Zach LaVine missed 19 games. Just having this Bulls team healthy next season feels like they could win at least 30 games. But Vegas has their over-under win total at 30.5 games. Give me the over here. They had a good offseason, getting Kobe White and Daniel Gafford in the draft, and added veteran Thaddeus Young, who can help change the culture in Chicago. They also signed Thomas Satoransky to be their starting point guard. As 7th overall pick Kobe White, they'll need to bring him along slowly. You can also count on Otto Porter to have a great season, since he could potentially opt out next summer and secure some long-term money in a down 2020 free agency class. So yes, give me the over for 30.5 games on the Chicago Bulls. On to the Minnesota Timberwolves. This team just feels like a C- to D+ team at best. Feels like they can compete on any given night when you have Towns and Wiggins. They won 36 games last year, and Vegas has them right there again next year with over-under of 35 wins. I'm going to take the under here just because they did lose some key role players in Derrick Rose to the Detroit Pistons, Dario Saric to the Phoenix Suns, and Todd Gibson to the New York Knicks. Also, they're bringing in young players from the draft in Jarrett Culver. I'm not sure if he's ready to win right away. That'll be a developmental process. I don't see the additions of Jake Layman, Noah Vonleh, and Jordan Bell changing the team that much. I just don't see them winning more than 35 games next season, especially in a loaded Western Conference. Last but not least, the Oklahoma City Thunder. This team feels like they went full rebuild mode by trading away their 2 best players in Paul George and Russell Westbrook and just acquiring a treasure chest of draft picks from the Clippers and Rockets over the next 6 years. Vegas has their over-under at 31 wins for next season. Give me the over. This feels like a 35 to 38 win team potentially fighting for the 8th seed in the West. If you look at the roster, Chris Paul and Steven Adams, if they aren't moved over the next 6 months, this could be a competitive team. They have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chris Paul, Danilo Gallinari, Steven Adams, Andre Roberson, Terrence Ferguson, Dennis Schroeder. That's a roster full of quality players who are willing to compete any given night. If they don't decide to blow this roster up at the deadline, they could be in contention for the 8th seed, or at the least be a very competitive team, so give me the over for 31 wins.